Ichijo is the son of a yakuza clan head who wishes to live an ordinary life working for the government. On his way to school, a girl runs into him and injures him, and at school his crush Onodera helps him. A new transfer student is announced, and the girl is Chitoge, the girl who injured Ichijo, and she starts arguing with Ichijo. Ichijo finds out that he has lost his locket that contains a memory of his first love when he was a child. And he lost the locket when Chitoge ran into him. He asks her to help look for it. They argue and fight for several days, and Ichijo tells Chitoge to give up. However, Chitoge eventually finds the locket and returns it to Ichijo. Ichijo's father announces that to make peace with a rival gang, Ichijo must fake date a girl from their clan, and the girl is revealed to be Chitoge. For the clans to make peace, they have to date each other for 3 years. Although they do not want to, they reluctantly agree. They go on a date to trick the yakuza and the Beehive gang into thinking they are in love, but they have a difficult time because they always argue. During the date, some gangsters bother Chitoge, and Ichijo takes her hand and they run away. Chitoge scolds him and heads to the bathroom, where she overhears the yakuza saying they don't believe that Ichijo and Chitoge are really dating. Chitoge resolves to do better, but when she returns to Ichijo, they meet Onodera, and he has a difficult time revealing that he is dating Chitoge. Chitoge gets mad and leaves. Ichijo asks Onodera if his locket looks familiar, and she says it does not, but when she gets home she has the key for the locket. Meanwhile, Ichijo apologizes to Chitoge. Ruri Miyamoto, Onodera's best friend, invites them all to a study group and to help Onodera with her feelings for Ichijo. The yakuzas watch them, and they think that his relationship with Chitoge is fake, so to help their relationship they trick and trap Ichijo and Chitoge inside a warehouse. Trapped inside the warehouse, Chitoge reveals that she is afraid of the dark, and Ichijo comforts her. They try to escape the warehouse, but she falls on him. They start to kiss but are interrupted by Claude, and both Onodera and Ruri see them as well. At home, Chitoge writes in her notebook that Ichijo might have some redeeming qualities. Ichijo tries to clear up the confusion with Onodera due to his almost kiss with Chitoge. Ruri continues to support her friend and plans for Ichijo to teach Onodera how to swim to prepare her for a swim meet and so they can be closer together. Onodera is terrible at swimming, but they enjoy each other's company. At the swim meet, Chitoge cramps while swimming and almost drowns, but Ichijo saves her. Shu, Ichijo's best friend, tells him to give her mouth to mouth, but before he can, she wakes up and punches him. This makes Ruri suspicious about Ichijo dating Chitoge. Chitoge finds out that Ichijo was trying to save her, so she tries to apologize and thank Ichijo for saving her from drowning, but ends up beating him up. Onodera later attempts to confess to Ichijo but is foiled when a baseball hits her head. It is revealed that when Chitoge returned the locket to Ichijo, she also remembered a promise with a boy with a locket 10 years ago. A transfer student named Tsugumi joins the school. Tsugumi sits with Ichijo and smiles at him, but Chitoge recognizes Tsugumi and is embarrassed at his appearance. Chitoge and Tsugumi speak with each over his uniform, and Tsugumi explains that it is his disguise. He asks to be introduced to Chitoge's boyfriend, and they meet Ichijo. At lunch, Tsugumi teases Chitoge, and when Chitoge leaves to go to the bathroom, Tsugumi asks to speak to Ichijo in private. On the rooftop, Tsugumi questions Ichijo's love for Chitoge. After Ichijo says he loves her, Tsugumi takes out a gun and threatens Ichijo, saying that he will take Chitoge away from him. Ichijo defends Chitoge and she overhears them. Chitoge stops them when they fight, and Tsugumi challenges Ichijo to a duel which he must win or Tsugumi will kill him. After school, the two duel and Tsugumi pulls out multiple guns. Ichijo is scared and flees because he thought that they would duel with fists. Tsugumi chases him and they both fall into the pool where Tsugumi is knocked out. Ichijo helps him and takes him to the boys' locker room where he discovers Tsugumi is actually a girl. Chitoge arrives and Ichijo hides Tsugumi in a locker, and Chitoge tells the class Tsugumi is actually a girl. Ichijo calls Tsugumi cute, and Chitoge discovers them and punches him. Tsugumi arrives later with a girl's uniform and promises to protect Chitoge. Chitoge gives her a blue ribbon to wear on her hair, and she wonders if Chitoge has forgotten her love 10 years ago. Later, when Ichijo must do chores, Tsugumi comes along to see if he is a good match for Chitoge, but she finds herself developing weird feelings for Ichijo. She asks others for advice, such as Claude and her classmates. When she asks Onodera for advice, Onodera reveals that she must be in love, and Tsugumi denies her feelings. Chitoge is reminded by Tsugumi that she also had a first love, and she goes to her closet to find her old diary from 10 years ago. In the pages of the diary, she sees details about days spent with a boy 10 years ago, and then finds a key that resembles Ichijo's locket. The class has a trip to go to the hot springs. Ichijo, Ruri, Chitoge, Onodera, and Tsugumi ride together to go to the hot springs, and they are all stuck with each other. All the other boys are jealous. Later, Chitoge remembers that the boy from her diary had a scar on his forehead, and she sees that Ichijo also has a scar on his forehead. At the hot springs, the group decide to play a card game where the losers would have to talk about their first love. They must avoid the Joker card, but both Onodera as well as Chitoge have a terrible poker face. However, before the game can finish, a teacher ends their game and there is no loser. The group go into the hot springs, but Claude traps Ichijo by switching the signs for the men and women hot springs. Ichijo and Chitoge accidentally meet at the hot springs and see each other, and Chitoge is angry to find Ichijo there but is more understanding when the trick is revealed. She agrees to help Ichijo escape, but before he can run, the other girls arrive at the pool. Chitoge covers for him and he almost escapes before others arrive into the hot springs. He is almost caught by Tsugumi, but Chitoge manages to hide him. He finds an escape route, but while attempting to escape, Chitoge accidentally falls on him and experiences something unpleasant. He manages to escape to the boys' side. Ichijo and Chitoge are embarrassed over the incident at the hot springs and they try to avoid each other. Shu tells Ichijo about a lottery where the class will pair boys and girls for a test of courage. Onodera hopes to be paired with Ichijo, and Ruri tells her she needs to make a move on him. At the lottery, Ichijo and Onodera are paired up and they consider themselves lucky. Meanwhile, a group of students running the test of courage ask Chitoge to fill for a girl that was sick and she reluctantly agrees. However, she is left alone in the dark when her flashlight runs out of battery. When Ichijo realizes what has happened, he leaves Onodera to rescue Chitoge because of her fear of the dark. Ichijo finds her and leads her back to the resort. Tsugumi is planning a surprise birthday party for Chitoge and she invites Ichijo and the rest of the group. Ruri makes a plan for Onodera and Ichijo to go shopping for a gift for Chitoge together. They are nervous because they are on a kind of date together. Onodera takes Ichijo to a scenic overlook in her secret place, asking him to keep it a secret. Ichijo asks Onodera if she was the promised girl from 10 years ago, and she reveals that she has a childhood memory of promising to a boy and receiving a key from him. They almost confess to each other but are interrupted by a phone call since they are late to the party. They go to Chitoge's house and the group is surprised that she is rich. She is also embarrassed that the party is full of gangsters. She gets gifts from gang. Later, Ichijo and Chitoge are alone together on the balcony and Chitoge asks him about the promised girl from 10 years ago, and whether he heard the phrase "lost in love," which was what the promised girl said to him 10 years ago. She reveals to him that she also has a childhood memory from 10 years ago of meeting a boy and receiving a key from him that resembles his locket. Ichijo is shocked to see Onodera and Chitoge both have keys. They are embarrassed, but they try the key in the locket, but are shocked when the key breaks inside the locket. While leaving, Ichijo runs into Chitoge's father and he reveals she didn't have many friends growing up and they have good chemistry. He also reveals that his family visited Ichijo's family 10 years ago, and that Chitoge and Ichijo had met each other as kids. Onodera later meets Ichijo as she wants to try the key, but since his locket is broken, he had to take it for repairs. They get pictures from the trip, but an embarrassed Ichijo trying to get a picture of Onodera accidentally gives her a picture of Chitoge, and she wonders if he has a crush on Chitoge. At home, Ichijo's father reveals that he has a picture of the girl he promised to 10 years ago, but that Ichijo would have to find it. He struggles to find the photo and also struggles to remember details of the girl from 10 years ago. The group study together and Tsumugi helps Ichijo with a problem and she becomes embarrassed when she gets close to him. Later, Ichijo finally finds the photo of the promised girl, but he finds the photo useless at identifying the girl as she doesn't remember anything about the girl at all. After school, it rains and he walks Chitoge home as they share an umbrella. She gets annoyed when she gets in the rain and they stand close to not get wet. They take cover, but Chitoge accidentally finds photos of herself on him, but she knows that they were probably planted by Shu. They share a moment but are interrupted by Ichijo's dad, who calls him in for an emergency. Chitoge and Ichijo find out that he actually has a fiancée and she is arriving the next day. His dad forgot about his engagement, but reveals that the girl in the photo is his fiancée. She transfers into their class the next day and is introduced as Marika Takabana. She hugs Ichijo and Chitoge states that he is her boyfriend. Marika calls her a gorilla and Tsumugi defends Chitoge with a gun, but a group of police arrive to defend Marika since her father is the police commissioner. Marika takes Ichijo away by pretending to be hurt. At the nurse's office, even though he doesn't remember her, she confesses to him. His friends accidentally run into him in a compromising position with her and Chitoge destroys him. It is revealed that Marika also has a key to the locket. Marika forces Ichijo on a date and the rest of the girls disguise themselves to spy on them. Tsumugi dresses up as a disguise and it is successful, but she is upset that Ichijo did not recognize her at all. Chitoge hides as a suspicious person but is chased off by the police. Ruri and Onodera accidentally lose them at a tea house. At a park, Chitoge successfully spies on them, and Marika reveals her key to Ichijo and asks him to break his relationship with Chitoge. However, Ichijo refuses as it would not be fair to Chitoge and she is revealed by Marika. Chitoge is provoked by Marika and beats up Ichijo. Marika and Ichijo talk and he still doesn't recognize her. She grows angry and throws a tantrum which makes him finally recognize her as Marie. When they were little, Marie used to be hospitalized, and Ichijo often came to visit her, and she fell in love with him. But when he was little, he said that he likes girly girls with long hair, so since then she has worked on getting long hair and acting girly. She forgives him for forgetting and gives him a kiss on the cheek. The girls and Ichijo all meet, and they are confused why there are multiple keys. They determine that 2 of the keys must be fake and that they will have to wait for the locket to be repaired to test the keys. Chitoge and Marika argue with each other over Ichijo. Later, Chitoge asks him to ask Marika's father to break off their engagement. Ichijo meets Marika's father and finds him incredibly intimidating. He is so scared that he cannot ask to break off the engagement. Marika leaves him alone with her father, and her father reveals that she still treasures the toys they had when they were children. Onodera asks Ichijo if he could help her family at their sweet shop since they are down an employee. He takes the part-time job and meets Onodera's mother but finds her intimidating. Ichijo finds himself distracted by Onodera's uniform. Her mother tests him on his cooking skills to see if he can work in the shop, and he manages to pass the test. Onodera and Ichijo cook sweets together and they grow closer. However, a typhoon appears and Ichijo is forced to stay at Onodera's house until the weather clears. They are nervous to be alone together, but they manage to talk about their school days together. The typhoon eventually changes course and Ichijo heads home. Later, at a template festival, Ichijo is working at a food stall run by the clan. He runs into Chitoge while on break and they explore the festival together. Marika and Onodera see them together, and Marika asks if Onodera has come for a festival relationship charm. After catching some fish for Chitoge, they fight the crowd for a festival charm but get separated. Onodera accidentally appears in front of Ichijo. They spend some time with each other, but a cat steals his charm. He chases the cat and embarrasses Marika when she thinks he is trying to kiss her. He meets Tsumugi, who is failing at the festival's gun game but keeps losing the charm. Chitoge ends up finding the charm and Ichijo offers it to her. She thinks he is proposing and is embarrassed until he clears up the situation. The group go to the beach for their summer vacation. Thinking about their time at the festival, Chitoge realizes that she has been developing feelings for Ichijo. This makes the rest of the trip embarrassing for her as they are close throughout the trip. At night, Onodera and Ichijo sit at the pier and talk about making sweets together. Onodera secretly wishes that the movement would last forever. She finds the courage to ask if they could kiss, but she finds out that he was asleep the entire time and she flees. The next day, Chitoge talks to Onodera while they make sand castles, and Onodera helps her realize that she really is in love with Ichijo. Later, when she and Ichijo are alone, she asks what if they became a real couple instead of a fake couple, and since he is embarrassed, he starts to insult her and she runs away. The school has a play on Romeo and Juliet, and originally Ichijo would play Romeo and Chitoge would play Juliet. But since her feelings were hurt at the beach, Chitoge has turned down the role. Although at first happy that Onodera will play the role instead. He confronts Chitoge and the two fight. Onodera and Ichijo prepare for the play, but the lines make them too embarrassed. Ichijo and Chitoge have a fight over their fake relationship, and she slaps him in front of the class. On the day of the play, Onodera falls and is unable to play Juliet. Marika is her understudy, but she is also sick. Chitoge is feeling regretful when Ichijo appears to ask her to play Juliet to save the play. He realizes that he has been acting hurtful to her and not thinking of her feelings. So he apologizes to her and she agrees to play Juliet. In the play, Chitoge plays the role of Juliet, but she also has forgotten the lines. The audience start to mistake the play as a comedy. They also realize that Shu has been making changes to the script and embarrasses Tsumugi when the script says she has to confess to Ichijo. Marika also appears, and Ichijo's Romeo is written to be a horrible person for dating multiple people. Claude appears as an obstacle and starts to seriously fight Ichijo until Ichijo accidentally collapses the castle wall prop on top of him. Finally, Ichijo reaches Chitoge and they complete the play to great applause. After the play, they talk about their fake relationship and apologize for the way they have been treating each other and reconcile with each other. At the party to celebrate the play, Onodera reveals to Ichijo that she is glad that they were able to complete the play, but she really was looking forward to playing Juliet. At sunset, they decide to have a play just for themselves and act out Romeo and Juliet with each other. And this is all for this video. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.